expert. And today I have Thea McCoy with the Real McCoy Epoxy, because the holidays are right around the corner and it is time to get your house ready before your friends and family arrive. Welcome, Thea. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I know it is flooring season, so thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to be on the Sometimes Spouse podcast.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's always great to have a chance to talk about what we do, because a lot of people don't quite understand the process. So thanks for inviting us to be able to share what we do. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Now tell me, the listeners want to know your story. How did you get in the epoxy flooring business?
Oh, so really it was my husband. He had been looking at these videos for probably about 2 years almost off and on. And he was always very interested in the process and how people use epoxy, not just for floors, but for countertops and for artwork and all these different things. And so when I retired from the Army in 2017, we were kind of trying to decide what we wanted to do, and we knew we didn't want to work for anyone else at that point. And what ended up happening is we took the contract for a franchise that we were considering to a friend who's a local business lawyer. She does business and church law. And we were just having her to go over the contract. And while we were doing it, she really just, and I'm paraphrasing, she really just kind of asked us, she said, so what do you get for the amount of money that you're going to give them for this franchise? And really, she just kind of convinced us. Well, I won't say convinced. It's not like she had to pull our leg, but she really kind of opened our eyes to the fact that we really should just take a bet on ourselves and step out there and do something that we wanted to do, something that we would enjoy, as opposed to just taking the easy road out. And not that franchising is easy, but instead of taking the prepackaged plan and just betting on ourselves.
That is awesome. So you're former military.
Right.
Thank
Yes,
you.
both Phil and I are both veterans.
Thank you both for your service. That is amazing. Veterans Day is Wednesday, I believe. I have to re-air this on Wednesday.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So Phil was watching epoxy videos. How did he rope you into it?
Honestly, I'll say, he went out to Colorado to do some classes to learn how to actually use the product. And we ended up, by the time he came back, he was just talking to me about all of the different products that there were, and how lucrative it was, and how much time you can save using it as opposed to other things. And so he was just bringing up all the good things about it. And then he said, well, we have an opportunity to be distributors for the product in this area because there's not a distributor in this area. And so when he brought that up, I said, well, we didn't really have to think about it that long. I was pretty much on board with what it could do, how it turned out. He was excited about it, which was something that, I hadn't seen him that excited about something in a long time as far as work is concerned. And so when we decided to do it, it was just kind of like, just all in, just jumping in the deep end.
I know what that's like. So how long have you guys been in business?
Definitely. So this past August made 2 years.
Wow. Time flies, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But I'll just say, over that 2 years, it's been great to see how much is expanded as far as the types of things that we are doing. When we initially got into the business, we were kind of assuming that countertops and flooring would be our bread and butter. And
Uh-huh.
for the most part, they are. But just being able to get into more of the artistic side of it, as far as making commissioned art and doing furniture redesign and just all sorts of other things. Like recently, we've had so many people that have been ordering TV tray tables. And so, it's football season. And so everybody wants their team table. And so it's just been, a great thing that we've kind of started doing, that we find that we really enjoy, and people really enjoy it.
Wow. So before we go any further, what is epoxy?
So epoxy is it's a liquid polymer, and so it goes on as a liquid, but then it dries really firm and is very durable. So it's similar to, if you could think of like a very, very rigid plastic, but instead of like something that you would think of that's like a rigid plastic that's brittle, like
Uh-huh.
say those old lawn chairs or something like that, where if they get hot and they get cold, they crack. The difference with epoxy is it's very weather durable. So it's heat resistant up to 500 degrees, which is awesome for kitchen countertops. And that's also really good when you're thinking about flooring in Texas, because a lot of people will get certain products for their floors, and they don't necessarily hold up over time because of the weather. And so it's just a very, very durable polymer. If that's an easy way to explain it, I don't know.
So you can do it on flooring, you can do it on
Hmm.
countertops, and you can also do furniture and artwork and
Yes.
that sort of thing. Tell us about your most interesting piece of artwork that you've done over the last couple of years.
Oh, so when we first started out, we were, of course, doing all of the home shows and everything. And so we were doing a home show in Austin, and we wanted to get something that would like catch everyone's eye and pull them into our booth so that they could see all the other things that we do, which was really kind of pulling them in for the flooring and the countertops. And so we created this one piece of artwork, and it had blues and golds and grays and all these different colors in it. And it was kind of the magnet, not just for the people visiting the home show, but for a lot of the other contractors that were there as well.
Uh-huh.
And so that piece, we actually was the first piece that we sold, and we ended up selling it to the individual who convinced us to go into business for ourselves. And so it's hanging right there in her law office.
That is so cool.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So tell us a little bit. I noticed on your website that you do furniture restoration. How does epoxy help you do furniture restoration?
So for a lot of people, they have pieces of furniture that they love,
Uh-huh.
but over time they've just gotten worn out. And if you get a good piece of furniture, it's not like it used to be. They don't build things the way that they used to sometimes. So you can have like a 30-year-old table and it's very sturdy, but you just have gotten so many dings and whatever, that have had life happens to our furniture. I have two teenage boys, and being in the military for so long, we moved a lot, and so we had good furniture pieces, but it just gets a lot of wear and tear when you're moving and just living. And so we refurbish that, and what we do is we redesign it. So if they want to just make the wood look good, then we can do that and cover it. Or if they just want to completely redesign it and just add bold colors and designs, we can do that as well.
Hmm.
I think one of the best examples of that was a wagon wheel table that we did for a family in Belton.
Uh-huh.
They're in Belton or Temple, and it was a beautiful wagon wheel table that they had, and it's an antique wagon wheel. And they loved the table, but his wife was just tired of dealing with all the crumbs and the things that get stuck in it. And
Yeah.
so what we ended up doing is we just completely covered that table in clear epoxy. And now they can see all the beautiful pieces of the intricate, the wheel and all of that, but they don't have to deal with all of the other things like the crumbs.
That is,
That was a really fun one.
I have to look for that picture on your website. I bet that's beautiful. So if people have concrete floors, because those were big 4 or 5 years ago, everybody did concrete and stained concrete, and everybody I know that has the stained concrete 4 or 5 years later, they hate it because it's really hard to keep clean.
Scratches.
Like it's starting to look that wear and tear on it, and they're like, I need something new. So can you put epoxy over concrete floor?
Yeah. Yes, you can. You most certainly can. And we've had a few customers that wanted to do exactly that because, like you said, it's just really difficult to keep clean. We've even had customers with concrete countertops. And for a while, that was a thing too. And I think that's probably the worst idea because it's so porous. And I mean, a kitchen is just going to get so, so much wear and tear that concrete countertops are really, really a bad idea. But so all it does is just it completely seals it. It makes it non-porous. Nothing gets lived in more than your kitchen and your living room. And when you have concrete floors and you're just moving furniture, they do scratch easily. So it's just a much better solution to repairing or covering. And some people actually like their stained concrete. So it's one of those things where it's like if you like the look of your stained concrete, then maybe just going over it with clear epoxy is a good solution for you because then you actually get to keep the look that you like without all the drama of the maintenance.
Yeah, I know a ton of Baylor houses because we do Baylor flip houses, and we own the handyman and household cleaning business. And when we get to a house
Uh-huh.
stained concrete, we're just like, oh, we hate, like it's always a pain, right? And so this is a great
Yeah.
kind of thing because it's so hard to clean and make it look clean and stay clean. So that clear epoxy would be a great kind of addition to their stained concrete then.
Yeah, definitely helps with pet odors too.
Ooh, that's smart too.
Don't have to worry about that soaking in.
Yeah, because that's one thing that's really
Yeah.
tough to get out, whether it's cats or dogs.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
is the epoxy slippery on the floor?
I mean, it can be because the epoxy by itself is so whenever you walk into, like, say, a hospital or a car dealership or something like that, that's what you're seeing on the floor. You're seeing epoxy on the floor, and it's the high grade epoxy, which is what we use. And so, of course, just like any marble floor is going to be slippery, but we do have additives that we can put in the top coat, which will make it more slip resistant. So it's just a matter of whether or not you want that shiny gloss finish, or if you want to have a matte finish, or if you want to have a slip resistant coating in there. So it's really just a matter of preference.
How
Mhm.
long does it take for you to put epoxy down? Because we were talking earlier, it's not like you just put it on with a paintbrush and you're done, right? It is a process that you go through. So kind of walk me through that process a little bit, and how, if somebody wants to get some epoxy floors before Thanksgiving, or the holidays, is that still a possibility?
I would say it's a possibility, but here's the thing, when you're talking about flooring, you won't be able to walk on it for, 4 or 5 days. You'll have to give up use of that space. So it's it's a commitment just like any other renovation. It's a shorter commitment, but it's definitely not something that you can do halfway. So if you're going to epoxy floors, then you have to know that that space is just not going to be used for 4 to 5 days. And that's so that you can make sure that it's properly cured and all of the things that you need to happen before you use it. So, like I said, just with any other renovation, it's a time commitment, just shorter. So about 4 to 5 days.
So how do you clean epoxy flooring and countertops?
Oh, that's the easiest thing. It's non-porous. And so because it is non-porous, you don't have to worry about things soaking into it like a natural stone or wood or something like that. So you can actually clean it with vinegar and water. Some people are just used to cleaning the kitchen with bleach. I grew up, you when you're cleaning, it's like bleach is the thing to use. If you've got epoxy countertops, if you're using bleach, it's just is for your own, for you to feel better. But they'll be perfectly fine with vinegar and water. Most natural cleaners are perfect for it.
So does epoxy scratch easily? I heard you say earlier, like the stained concrete, you can scratch it easily with your furniture when you're moving it around. But what about epoxy?
It's pretty durable. It's actually harder than concrete. So when you think about like the density of it, it's not going to like easily scratch. It's not like if you're just putting like say a thin poly or something like that on it. It's going to be pretty durable. Now you will get surface scratches, but as far as deep gouges and that sort of thing, it's going to be much more durable than that concrete is going to be.
That's awesome. So how can we get a
Mhm.
hold of you? The real epoxy, the real McCoy epoxy.
So you can either reach us on our website, which is www.realmccoyepoxy, and that's EPOXY. Or you can find us on Instagram, or you can find us on Facebook, and both of those are at Real McCoy Epoxy. And so, oh, I see you got it pulled up.
Do.
So that's my husband, Phil. We've got a small team, and occasionally we sub out, but very, very rarely. And so there's my husband and my son and myself. And so I don't know if you can scroll through that particular post, but it actually has the photos of the whole.
That's
That's
aw-
me.
that is awesome.
and and that's my son Jordan. And then that's just a picture of the whole family. And we were saying, Sean's not working with us yet, but he will be. He just doesn't know it.
Family's the
We
best.
give him a little bit more time.
That's
Yes.
and I'm
Yes.
scrolling through some of your work. I
No,
love your logo. It's absolutely beautiful. And notice it
thank you.
all the pictures. Oh, there's some countertops. Those are gorgeous.
Yeah, that was a farmhouse that we did in Florence. And with the undermount sink, and she just wanted, a nice clean look. Of course, farmhouse is kind of, simple, classic look, and it just turned out so great. That was one of my favorite kitchens.
It's so
And that was from a spa. We did a spa, and that was the before picture. You see the floor is so ugly. But of course, afterwards, turned out completely different.
wow. Yeah, I accidentally hit the wrong button and
That
I
was
can
a,
find it now.
oh, that's okay.
This is
Oh
really
yeah, that's the floor there. Uh-huh.
with the grill.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do outdoor kitchens as well. Outdoor kitchens we do in the spring because, of course, you know, epoxy needs a certain temperature in order to cure properly. And whether it's a garage floor or whether it's an outdoor kitchen, it's just best to wait until the temperature is consistently above 74, like 72, 74 degrees. And then that way it cures really, really well. But another instance of stone, you know, outdoor stone, and they were just tired of it collecting all kinds of grease spots and bird droppings and everything else. So it just made it so much easier for them to clean the outdoor kitchen. So that way your outdoor kitchen looks just as good as your indoor kitchen.
That's beautiful. I love that. Now, what is your
Thank
service
you.
area?
So we service all of Central Texas. So we go as far as South Austin and as far north as Waco.
Wow,
Mhm.
man, that's pretty cool. So all
That
of the
was a man,
Central Texas area.
that's a man cave there.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Is that for beer or wine? So before
Mhm.
I end the interview, I always like to ask a fun question of the person
Oh
that
my
I'm
goodness.
interviewing. So, if you were stranded on a desert island and all of your human needs were met, and you could take two luxury items, what would your two luxury items be and why?
Ooh. Hmm. That's interesting. Two luxury items, luxury items. I definitely wouldn't take a TV. I'm not a TV person. Um, It'd probably be a massage chair, like one of those really nice ones that massages everything from up here to like all the way under
Yeah.
your feet. One of those. Can person? It doesn't have to be. I
Whatever.
don't know. I don't know. I think it'd have to be like, and my husband's gonna kill me for this, but if I could take a personal chef, yes.
That is great.
A massage chair and a personal chef. Fresh sushi every day.
That is awesome. Thank you
Hey,
so
you're on
much
and I
for being on the Sometimes Spouse podcast.
thank you for having me.
We appreciate you. And thank you, listeners, for listening to the Sometimes Spouse podcast. Today, we were with the Real McCoy Epoxy, where they service all of Central Texas. Get a hold of them now to take care of your holiday flooring and countertop needs.
Thanks, Christy.